Hey guys, happy holidays. I wanted to do a quick video to talk about something that gives a lot of people stress around this time of year, which I find to be a little bit weird, but that's eating during the holidays. And first off, there's a couple things I want to cover first before we kind of get into the bones of it. But the first thing I want to say is if this time of year gives you stress because of eating, you need to examine your relationship with food, okay? Yes, there are celebrations, there's going to be more calorie-dense food, all that sort of thing. But there's no reason you can't enjoy yourself while also practicing cognitive restraint. Okay, so that's one thing. The next thing is there's no wrong way to eat. I see a lot of fat shaming and fit shaming going on, alright? So both sides of it. If somebody wants to eat something more calorie dense and they acknowledge that, hey, I acknowledge that this is more calorie dense and I may gain some body fat, but you know what? I'm okay with that because I want to enjoy this food. I want to enjoy this time with my family. I don't want to worry about tracking calories or whatever. That's a perfectly reasonable response. Don't be upset if you then do gain body fat. One thing I do tend to find with people is they will go out, eat, I don't want to say poorly, but over their caloric maintenance. They will eat far over that and be upset when they gain body fat. Well, no, that's what happens. Now, again, if you decide that you're okay with a little bit of body fat gain, you're willing to accept some body fat gain, so long as you can, if you enjoy yourself more that way during the holidays, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If your goal is to absolutely minimize body fat gain or lose body fat during the holidays, it's also fine to tell people, hey, I'm good. I don't want any dessert. Thank you. I've been on both sides of it. I've contest prepped through the holidays before. I still would enjoy some of the food, and I would, I even brought a scale a few times to parties, and people may ridicule me for that, but one thing is you have to realize there's always a give and a take to something, okay? So, yes, I could have chosen not to brought the scale and just estimated, but for contest prep, that is taking things to another level of commitment in order to try to be ready for that show. So alternative to me just not showing up, just saying, well, I'm just not going to go, which I'm not going to do, or I'm just going to bring my own food, or I'm not going to eat. You know what? This is my minimal sacrifice in order to keep myself on track. Okay? So that's kind of what I look at. What's the minimal sacrifice I can make to keep myself on track, still enjoy things, and not be weird? And if somebody asks me, I just say, look, I still want to enjoy food with everybody else, but I do have to account for this. I do have to budget for this, and just go that way. And if somebody wants to look down on me for that, then you know what? Fine. You're welcome to do that. I wouldn't agree. Okay? I will say if you're not prepping for a bodybuilding show, I think that taking a food scale to a Christmas party and weighing out all your food and everything, I think that's a little bit over the top. Again, that's just me. I wouldn't personally do it if I wasn't prepping for a show. However, I don't try to impose my morals on everybody else. So I think that, I would suggest just kind of relaxing a little bit, enjoying things, but still eating mindfully. And when I talk about eating mindfully, I'm talking about estimating, essentially. Okay? I probably haven't used. I do use a food scale when I'm home, and I can do that sort of thing. But when I travel or when I eat out, I don't take a food scale with me. I'm not going to do that. I'm not getting ready for a bodybuilding show or anything like that. And so what I do is I look at my food and I say, I think it's got about this much in it. And you know what? I'd probably be wrong. But I'm probably going to be a lot closer than if I just said, screw it, I'm just going to have whatever I want. Okay? That's not eating mindfully, and I don't want to say it's a dangerous mentality, but you are going to be more prone to putting on more body fat if you're not doing some sort of accountability to yourself while you're eating. So for me, that's just simply, look, I've been tracking long enough. that I have a good idea of what's in food. All right, so I can look at a portion of food and say that's about 40 grams of protein, 75 grams of carbs, and 25 grams of fat. And usually I'm pretty darn close to that. I've actually gone out to eat places and know they have their macros listed online, and I don't look at them. I guess based on the portion I'm getting and then check it later. Usually I'm within around 15%, 15 to 20% of the overall macros. So that's a useful tool if you're proficient at that. Now what if you're not proficient at that, okay? Well, there's a few things you can do. If you're really looking to minimize body fat gain, one of the things you can do is if like somebody, for example, brings stuffing to a party and you're not sure what the macros are, go online and just look up stuffing, nutrition facts. Now, it's going to be different for different brands, different types, all that sort of thing, but you're going to get a rough idea of what it is. Just take a ballpark average estimate and then look at the serving size and then estimate about how much you had. All right? Are you going to get it perfect? Absolutely not. But it's going to be better than if you just said, all right, screw it, I'm not worrying about it at all, and you know, whatever. I think a lot of times we get into this like denialist mentality with food where we don't want to gain body fat, but we go into screw it mode and we just like pray that by some divine miracle the body fat will not be bestowed upon us. You can hope for something or you can work for something, and you let me know which one works out better. What I would encourage people to do, again, if your goal is to minimize body fat gain, to learn how to practice self-restraint, cognitive, mindful eating, to learn how to be mindful while you eat. That is not having to have a food scale every time you go out, or go to somebody else's house and have dinner, that sort of thing. But practicing estimating what's in food and then using that to eat mindfully, okay? And mindful eating could even be as simple as not even counting macros, but saying, you know what? I'm just going to have one serving of the entree, and I'm going to have a half serving of dessert, and that's going to be it. And that's cognitive restraint right there. Again, it may not be perfect, but it's better than the alternative, all right? Another useful tool I use, especially for people who, if their macros are a little bit lower, if you know that you're going to be having dinner out or there's an event coming up, one of the things you can do is just at the meals you can control, keep your carbs and fats as low as you can, okay? If I know, like for example, after I got out of contest prep a few years ago, I finished my prep like in mid-November, okay? So the holidays were coming right up. And I was reversing out of that, trying to reverse, nice and slow. Wasn't perfect, but I did pretty well. And one of the things I did was, if I knew I had a dinner coming up, I would keep my carbs and fats as low as possible early in the day, okay? And I would use that as a way to give myself more flexibility later in the day, okay? Now, if you know you're having a breakfast out or whatever, okay, we'll keep your carbs and fats lower the remainder of the day. Like that, you can do that. Now people will say, Layne, what if I work out in the morning? Well, obviously I recommend having more carbs pre and post workout. However, the most important thing for progress is your 24-hour intake, is your daily intake. And so I would say, even if it means, if your goal is to minimize body fat gain, I would say, even if you're working out earlier in the day, I would have less carbs and fats than you usually did and save more for later if you know you're going to have that meal out. Again, is it perfect? No, but it's better than the alternative. So I think a lot of the things we need to do is, 1, eat mindfully, 2, have a plan. Like, don't just go into it like, whatever. 3, don't just hope something will happen or not happen. Okay? depending on what your goals are, have a plan. If your goals are, I don't care, I just want to enjoy the holidays, then just enjoy the holidays. That's fine. If you gain some body fat, okay, cut it off afterwards, whatever. Like, there is no right way to do this, but I'm speaking to people who, for their goals, are minimizing body fat gain, okay? I would encourage everyone, at the end of the day, bodybuilding, powerlifting, like, we can take it seriously and all that kind of stuff, and I do take it seriously, but it is more or less just a hobby, okay? So let's remember what the important things are. Don't skip family gatherings because you're afraid of food. That's ridiculous. Don't have anxiety about family get-togethers, all that sort of stuff. Like, enjoy this, okay? At the end of your life, you're probably not going to say, wow, I wish I'd been 8% body fat instead of 10% body fat. You're going to say, I wish I spent more time with my family. So enjoy the holidays, have a good time, and hopefully some of these tips can help you to keep your goals on target while enjoying yourself in that time. Happy holidays, guys, and hopefully do more videos soon.